You're watching EVH and Gear TV, brought to you by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs. Microphones for EVH and Gear TV are provided by Rode Microphones, and official Van Halen merchandise is provided by VanHalenStore.com. And now, here's your host from Ontario, Canada, EVH artist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, happy Sunday afternoon to you all. Welcome to an afternoon edition, weekend edition of EVH and Gear TV. Nothing really formal today, just going to have a look at kind of a very unorganized Van Halen guitar magazine collection. Was tidying up the studio here over the weekend, and I've known I've had these magazines over here for the longest time, and I want to remove a bookshelf from here and move it to another room just to get some more room here in the studio, and didn't realize the overwhelming collection I have of Van Halen guitar magazines. Now, it may be small compared to some of the ones that some of you guys have out there as well, or it could be larger than some of the ones that you have, but it's cool. We all like to look at guitar magazines, especially when Eddie Van Halen has graced the covers. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. And just give me a quick second here. I think I'm getting some lag here on my camera. Let me fix that, okay? Just give me 1 second. All right, hopefully that's fixed it. I think it has. We should be good. We'll keep our fingers crossed anyways. Yeah, so the magazines, we're going to have a look at some of the guitar magazines. As a kid growing up, I bought, like we all have, a ton of guitar magazines, from Guitar for the Practicing Musician, Guitar World, Guitar Player, Guitar Aficionado, so that's somewhat newer. But buying the guitar magazines whenever Eddie Van Halen would come out would be the thing that really drew me to the music stores, or the magazine stores, which are kind of becoming fewer and further between as well too. Like in my small town where I grew up, there were so many stores that were just magazine stores, and they'd have cigarettes and all that kind of stuff too. But it was just rows and rows and rows of magazines. And the days coming where there's a lot of stores aren't even carrying them anymore. And it's almost like they're just not being purchased. It's a real shame. I know digital is a very, very cool thing, but it's still nice to have that guitar magazine in your hands and, leaf through it, look at the advertisements are cool too, because that's a lot of times how we learn about new gear. And long before the internet, it's exactly how we learned about new gear was, the new endorsement by so-and-so, whether it be Eddie Van Halen or whoever. That's how we learned about what was coming out, it'd be previews for NAMM and things like that. Obviously now with the internet, we get to see things, the day that it's even, conceptualized. So, it's pretty cool. But yeah, like I say, I had a whole bunch of guitar magazines, not just the Van Halen ones before we moved. We moved a couple of years ago. And in the process of moving, I looked at all these magazines I had, and there was probably, I don't know, a couple hundred, and not all Van Halen. The ones that weren't Van Halen, I just kind of looked at and I thought, am I ever going to read these? And I have to store these somewhere. And I discarded most of them. And I almost discarded the Van Halen ones. But I thought, you know what? No, I spent too much time collecting these, and they're very special to me. So I kept them. I kept them, and now I kind of treasure them. So I think this is going to be a twofold process today. Number one, I get to show you some of the magazines that I have, and we can talk about your collections. And number two, in the grand scheme of things, after I go through them, I'm going to kind of organize them chronologically, and to be a little bit better to back from the 80s through quite recent. So I'll have a look at that. Chad Boston's here saying hiya, and he says I miss physical reading material. I'm that way too. I'm not going to say I don't look at sheet music and tablature and things like that online. I do, but I do prefer to have that physical book in my hands. It's just something about it, you know what I mean? It's something that the younger generation will never probably really know, that's always on their tablets and computer and things like that. And, it's just a shame. It's just like, to me, going to the magazine stores were no different than going to the record stores and, leafing through records and CDs and cassettes and things like that. Even just cassettes and records belong before CDs. It's something that we just won't experience again. And it is a shame with the magazines. So I'm going to have a look through some of this collection here as well. Some of them I have duplicates of and things like that too, maybe to keep them in better order. And I really haven't treasured them as far as taken care of them treated them, with the respect that they need. They should have been, they're stuck on the bottom of the shelf vertically, and some of them got some dog ears and some, bent corners and some damaged spines and stuff like that. But I am going to try to be a little bit more cautious with them to preserve them, and I'm going to get them out of the studio here and move them. So we're going to go through these, and we're going to look in no chronological order. I'll jump over the chat again for a quick second. Carlo Santin here says, "Hey everyone, I almost got rid of my Van Halen magazines too. I have just too much stuff, but I can't get myself to throw them out. Everything is in crates now." Yeah, crates would probably be a good idea for me as well too, Carlo. Zach Thong is here as well too, saying, "What's up, Eric?" Scott Nickerson, cheers. Quick question. George L. Patch Kit, where to order in Canada? That is a good question. Long McQuaid, try that. I'm not sure if they carry it. Try Long and McQuaid. Mike Ray is here, says, "I put my mags in plastic." Yeah, it's a very good idea. And some of mine are. Some of them were purchased that way because some of them are like, back issues or things that people have sent me as well too. So they are in plastic. So you'll see some of that as well here too. So let's highlight Mike's comment here, Mike Ray, and I'll know where we left off. And we're just going to start going through some of these, and we'll have a look, and we'll kind of enjoy, the nostalgia of the Van Halen guitar magazines. All right. And we won't go in depth on every single one because we could be here forever. But here's one that's kind of falling apart. This would be Eddie Van Halen's second appearance on PV Monitor magazine, or appearance in. Now, the cover's falling off of this one, but this was quite cool. Obviously, when I was coming out with the Wolfgang Special at the time. A couple awards it was won for that guitar. So it's kind of the guitar that, I won't say it started it all because we got Ernie Ball, but this is it kind of took it to the next level, I think. So yeah, we got the PV Monitor, and that would be for volume 18, issue 2. I'm going to say probably around 97, 98-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't see a date. You'll probably find a date on the inside. But yeah, this has got some great material inside as well on the Wolfgang. Actually, page 2. Let's have a look. So obviously the feature story. That's great. So that's PV Monitor. That, like I say, it marks his second appearance on the Monitor magazine. And for those that you don't know what Monitor is, that was PV's internal magazine or their own promo magazine featuring all their products and their artists and all their sound reinforcement and all that kind of stuff, not just guitars and stuff. This one's cool. I think I have a couple of this one here. This would be Guitar World Presents Guitar Legends Special Collector's Issue. This is really cool. I didn't realize it had this notation in it. It's got Hot for Teacher, Panama, Light Up the Sky, Finish What You Started, Ice Cream Man, and Eruption transcribed. And I can probably only say the word eruption on the air. I can't play eruption on the air anymore, or I get in trouble for it. But I can say the word eruption. But that's a cool one. This one's in pretty good shape as well too. Eddie Van Halen's Guide to the Best of Van Halen, 5 rare interviews, some band history, unseen photos. This is cool. This is a good one to have for sure as well. Man, the old days. Isn't that awesome? Wicked. Pretty cool. All right. Here we are in Guitar Legends, the history of hard rock. We've got Eddie Van Halen on there. Angus Young, of course. Let me see. What do we have for any no guitar transcriptions for Van Halen this one, but that's pretty cool. I'm trying to make sure everyone sees these. And lots of Guitar World. This one's cool. Guitar World, what issue would this be? Where's the date? I'm blind, I don't see it. 30th anniversary salute. The making of Van Halen's 84. Eddie looks back at his masterpiece. There's a return of Jakey Lee in this issue. Panama's transcribed, 5 songs, guitar and bass tab. So very, very cool. See if I can skip to the Van Halen content real quick, just without looking through the table of contents. If I can find it, cool. If not, I'll just skip it. There we go. Is that where it starts? Right on. Home Improvement. Eddie back in the old 5150 studio. You see that? Pretty cool. Nice. Subscription cards. Prices have probably changed drastically on that for now. Okay, let's go on. Let's keep moving on. This is a cool one. I've showed this one on the air a while back as well too. And the cool thing is, if you guys want to get this guitar, you can still get this guitar. Guitar World, February 1990. Edward Van Halen, Player of the Decade. Man, he's won so many awards. Best of the 1980s. The top 50 albums, 12 influential players. Actually, Beat It is transcribed in this one, so that's pretty cool. So this would be his old Teisco Del Rey guitar. That was one of the first guitars he had, and he really enjoyed that guitar. And I don't know if he still owns it. Probably does. But you can get that guitar now. Eastwood makes those guitars now, and an exact model of that guitar. look up, I think it's eastwoodguitars.com, but you can get that same guitar in the same color. Junior and I want to get one just to have it because it's so cool. But that's a very, very cool issue. Eddie with long hair back then. Quite neat. Okay, we talked about the PV monitor just a minute ago, so we're going backwards a little bit. This is volume 15, issue 1. This is pretty common, at your local PV, musical retailers. You could just walk in there and grab some of these. So this one's in pretty good shape. So that's when the Wolfgang first come out. They had a big giant cardboard cutout of that. I know some of my friends have that to this day. I used to have one, but in the process of moving a couple different times, it's like, okay, the cardboard gets left behind sometimes. But I think there's some good material in this one. Is that who I think it is right there too? It is too. Jennifer Batten. And you know what? This is a perfect segue for me right here. This is very, very cool. Couldn't have been a better segue. I couldn't have planned this better if I asked for it. So Jennifer Batten, Chad Boston's over here in the chat, and a very good friend of mine too. And he asked me to mention something about a show that's coming up at his next weekend, and I had to make some notes for it. And I promised him I would do just that. He has a great show coming up on Saturday, a live kind of hangout roundtable discussion featuring female guitarists, and kind of giving them the spotlight, and talking about how their careers have become a big success. And Jennifer Batten is one of the key members of the roundtable. So in the link in the description down below, I have a link to Chad's channel. So it'd be awesome if you could subscribe to his channel and check out the show next week. So it's called the Female Guitarist Roundtable Discussion, Female Guitarist Rock, featuring 6 awesome powerhouse women that rock. He has on the itinerary for that day Jennifer Batten, who we just talked about here, Gretchen Menn, Nilly Brosh, fantastic, Nikki Stringfield, Alexandra Zerner. I'm not familiar with her, unfortunately. And Yvette Young. Do I have anybody else? No, that's it. So let's have a look at the time for that. And the link is in the description down below. Just give me 1 second here. I know I wrote it down. Okay. I wrote it down. Is that 5 o'clock? Let me see. I have it here. Bear with me here. All right. He sent me a long email and I had to write it down. Chad, drop the itinerary, not the itinerary, but the time. I know it's Pacific time in the chat if you can. Oh, here we go. April 14th, 2018, 5 o'clock Pacific, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And jump in a little early, get yourself comfortable, bring a drink with you, whatever. And it'll be a really, really good show. I guarantee it. Chad does a good thing over there. So yeah, that's kind of a really, really cool coincidence that we ran into Jennifer Batten here in this issue. She's got the 5150 there as well. It's pretty cool. And I'll just see if I can find where the Van Halen content is in here. There we go. Very cool. That's nice. Real flashback. That was a great amplifier. A lot of you guys still have that one. So there you go. The Guitar World. What issue is this one? This one's pretty cool. March 1998. Man, my vision is really, really bad. Obviously, that was a shirt that was, I won't say the word on the air, but that was a shirt that was made popular by Gary Sharon. Kind of a Wolfgang prototype with the 3 hot rails in it. It's pretty cool. Pete Wolfgang with a 3-way toggle up the top like that, like a slider as opposed to a regular toggle. Very, very cool like that. Eddie the King is back. Eddie still rules with a new singer and a bold new album. Pretty cool. Who else is jumping in? Yeah, there you go, Chad. 5 p.m. Pacific, no problem. And Dan Halen is here saying hello all. We'll probably skip through some of these a little quicker. We'll be here till next Wednesday. Guitar interview. This is Guitar for the Practicing, or actually became Guitar after Guitar for the Practicing Musician, right? Exclusive interview, Edward Van Halen. This is my final word. Backstage with Satriani, Johnson, and Vi. And then it's got Me-Wise Magic transcription in here. That's pretty cool. And then some Joe Satriani as well, too. This was a really good episode with his Wolfgang there as well, too. And you know what? I always thought that was the black Wolfgang, but that almost looks like a blue one. But I'm not even quite sure. I think it must be the black one. It must just be my eyes. See if we can get to the Van Halen content here. There we go. Kind of a centerfold type of fold out. Pretty cool. A lot of these are common, and most of you will have them. Who else is jumping in here? Ratiug75 says, love looking through the old mags. Michael Schinkel's here. I put together, and I can't pronounce that name, Juwok. It says, hi, Eric. Hello, hello, hello. This one is cool. This one I think I've only taken out of the cardboard cover once or twice. Classic rock. This one has been damaged a little tiny bit, and which is very, very strange, right? I'm not sure what they were thinking when they did classic rock, and then they put the Sammy Hagar era logo over that. I think that's a bit of a flaw. Maybe there's an intern that didn't get the memo that they don't use that logo, at least for that era. But it is what it is. Maybe it makes it kind of exclusive. Let's have a peek inside. Hopefully it's in decent shape. It is. Not too bad. I can't complain. This is wicked. I don't even know if I've even looked at this one. A friend gave me this one. Van Halen, the 80s are coming, and we're going to be the soundtrack. That couldn't be a better statement. They were the soundtrack to the 80s. They're everyone's soundtrack. Let's just skim through real quick and have a look to see what we got. Man, that's so awesome. This is a really, really good issue. This is very nice. I just want to try to find the Van Halen content quickly. So it's not obviously just dedicated to Van Halen. You would think so by the cover, but look at that, Running with the Devil. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, this is cool. This is very cool. They were so crazy. And then we get into some Keith Richards and stuff like that. So I guess not a lot of Van Halen content. It's really kind of DC. Oh no, there's some more. All right. Then we talk about some of the new stuff, obviously with Roth. Pretty cool. All right, so we'll skip on that one. Beautiful cover though. Look at that one. That's really nice. Cool. This is fun. I'm really glad I found these magazines yesterday because it's kind of fun reliving them. Reliving my childhood going through them. Stefan Hodgson says, "Hey man, Kansas City here. Just got a cruise control modded 5150 350. Thing is insane. Know where I get the fender concentric knobs and an extra striped grill. I don't. Offhand, you might want to contact Fender customer service, and they can probably point you to the nearest retailer that could do that. Check with your local authorized Fender retailer, an EVH dealer. You should be able to get them there." And Michael says, "I put together a list with all the articles I own for each year from 1978 until today. That comes down to a total of 1,378 items, 2,871 pages. That's crazy." And, back in the day, it was Kiss and Van Halen for me. And I'm going to say probably Kiss was I was a little more extreme. And I'm just going by what Michael's saying, is I would collect everything. And this would drive my parents crazy. Back in the day, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but remember TV Guide? It's what we used to actually buy, or our parents would subscribe to this magazine, little tiny magazine, and it would tell you what's coming on TV that day instead of looking it up on the internet or on your, on your satellites or whatever you have now. It's all told. It tells you what's coming on at what time. But if Van Halen would be mentioned, even in things like TV Guide, little postage stamp articles, I would cut them out and I would glue these things onto my wall. So I had posters from magazines that were taped on there or tacked, and then even crazy glued on the wall. So when I grew up and moved away from home, the walls were just plastered, and like you had to pretty much destroy the room to get these old Van Halen things off the walls. But so a little similar to you there as well, Michael. Radio75 says, "I love your channel, Eric." And Mike Ray says, "Any tour books?" I do have one tour book that was given to me by Jeff Humphreys. It's off to the side. I may be able to get it in a moment. It's the Fair Warning original tour. So I have that over here just off to the side. I'll try and grab it in a few minutes. But that's the only tour book I have. So thanks for the question. Let me see here. Carl Santin says, "I'm such a horrible collector, completely disorganized, and I don't take care of my stuff. I hate to admit this, but I have one of the EVH signed Wolfgang pickups. I can't find it. It's somewhere." That's funny. And I take care of my guitar and my gear stuff. Phenomenal. Like, I'm anal about it. But the magazines, as you can see, some of these are in pretty poor shape, so they're not in the best of shape, and I need to take better care of them. Going back to PV, this was one of the nice little promotional items, kind of a threefold brochure they had. And this was actually, from a collector standpoint, I'd probably rate out of a 10. This is probably about a 7 or an 8. Got a couple dog ears, maybe a 6 or 7. But this is pretty cool. The evolution continues. This was quite nice. You don't really get brochures and things like too much like this anymore. Everything's all PDFs, download online. I mean, they're available, but it's just not like it used to be. Very cool. And then your color patterns on the back. Very nice. So that was another PV promo. It's not a magazine, but got worked into the pile. Let me see here. Let's try to flag this where I'm at. Okay. July 1988, Guitar World. This was a famous photo shoot. Edward Van Halen, What's Next? And there's a lot of cool outtakes of this photo shoot online. You can just publicly search them. And it's amazing. The price... $295 US, $350 in Canada. They're like $9 now for a magazine in Canada. It's absolutely insane. I honestly think they should be cheaper for the sole fact that a lot of people just aren't buying the magazines. But this was a really cool one as well too. I think there's some pictures in here with Eddie and Sammy together joking around, jumping around, stuff like that. Look at that. We got Jennifer Batten again. Today's the day for Jennifer Batten. Look at that. Very cool. She's been in the guitar magazines probably nearly almost as much as Eddie Van Halen. Very cool. Okay, we'll skip the content. This isn't Eddie related, but it certainly is his son. And if anything that has Van Halen on it, I would buy it. So Bass Player Magazine, Wolfgang Van Halen, Calling the Shots and Rock's Royal Family. Just trying to think when this would have been from. September 2012. So there you go, right around the different kind of Truth album and tour, obviously. Quite cool. A lot of PV promo. The little cardboard standee, whatever you want to call it, for the 5150. There was also a big giant life-size stand-up of this one as well too. So basically you had the two different eras. You had Eddie with the long hair and Eddie with short hair, both doing the promo for PV. This one is one that you'd not normally think of when you go to buy a magazine. Popular Mechanics, and a little tiny small postage stamp there. Exclusive Eddie Van Halen Guitar Maker, page 78. There's some cool stuff in here as well too. I think it's got his car in here, one of his cars. This one I will search through for because it's pretty neat. 78, we're getting close. Here we go. So there we go. How badass is that? Eddie Van Halen is God. That's wicked. Look at that little tinker bench. Can you imagine just playing on that bench for just standing in front of that bench? I know some of you people have been lucky enough to have been there. I haven't yet. Pretty wicked. That's awesome. Talk some about some of the new guitars that had just come out from EVH Gear at the time. So that's really nice. Kind of a neat texture too. Kind of a rough finish on it. So a magazine I would have never bought, unless Eddie was in it, of course. Here he is with his friendship with Billy Corgan, both playing Wolfgangs. This would be what year is this? I can't even see the year in this one, but I know you're looking around 98, obviously, with that era somewhere in the, 96, sorry. Yeah, what am I thinking? Not 98. April 96. That's pretty cool. That's a thick one as well, too. Is there any transcriptions in that one? Not as far as Van Halen. Nope. All right, we're going to start skipping through. Guitar Player, the house that Eddie built. This one was kind of a weird photo shoot. There's a lot of weird photoshopping going on in this one, but this is really cool. Nice look at the Wolfgang, the 5150. The 50 watt had just come out at that point, which is pretty cool. The first 50 watt. So pretty nice. Nice look at the Wolfgangs. Very cool. Now, why do I have this one? Because we've got Dimebag on the cover. I'm a big Dimebag fan. Oh, here we go. So Dimebag with Van Halen in 2004. And what else? There's got to be more Van Halen reference here, else I wouldn't have bought it. Why is that? Maybe it's just that. Is there anything else in here? So that's probably I probably bought it just because of that little mention right there of Eddie and Dime. So there you go. That's cool. That's a good issue for Dimebag fans for sure. Some of these, I look at them, when I look at them quickly on the cover, I'm like, okay, why did I buy this one? Because I only buy them for Eddie Van Halen, and I have to look a little further. So this one here, Guitar World, oh yeah, there we go, Eddie Van Halen, striping up. This is when he was doing like the Charvel Art Series guitars, where he would make a special one for a particular performance. He'd play it that night and then sell it for some crazy money, and they did get sold quite a bit. And some of my friends here actually have some of those, which is cool. Very cool. All right. This one isn't Van Halen related, but you know what? I think I bought it just because I had to, because it was Jimi Hendrix. Obviously, it's 100% dedicated to him, I think. Looks like it. Yeah, that's cool. This is cool. I'm glad I did get this one. All right, so this one isn't Van Halen related either. These will have to get taken out of the pile, but this was something I was endorsing PV at the time, and I was really into the JSX. So this was the PV monitor where Joe Satriani was on the cover. Got a couple of those. That's it's still kind of Van Halen related somewhat, a little bit. Very, very cool, but certainly not true Van Halen magazines. We'll put those off to the side so they don't get in the same pile. All right, what's the Van Halen reference on this one? Guitar 1, where are they now? Okay. There's got to be a reason. Why did I buy this one? The Van Halen ain't talking about love. I must have bought it for a transcription, and there's probably a small article. So it still counts. It still stays in the Van Halen pile. It's pretty cool. Carlo Santin says, TV Guide Memories. And Stefan's asking about the power tubes that Eddie used. I'm not 100% sure. And if I don't have the answer, I never guess. Richard Henry's here saying, hey, Eric. Jack Shea Martin's here saying, hey, Eric. Very cool to have you guys here. Hope you're having a good Sunday afternoon. Okay, so we have this one here, Guitar World. Got Zakk Wylde on the cover and Dimebag. Van Halen, Beautiful Girls, and the Creator Will Rock in Eruption, note for note lesson. Very cool. Nice. Very, very cool. Jerry Cantrell on the cover of this one. Now, what is the Van Halen reference with this one? Here again, I question myself. Here we go. Classic interview, Van Halen meets Les Paul. That's cool. We've all seen some of those photos online. I didn't realize that was in this issue. The Return of Ace Frehley, that's cool. So for the Van Halen / Kiss fan, that's very cool as well. To see if I can skip to the Van Halen related content. Oh, there's a nice ad for the Wolfgang. Very cool. Can you see that? Very cool. I just like to skip through the stuff real quick to see if I can see any Van Halen related content. If I don't see it right away, we'll just continue on. Nope, continue on. Cool. Obviously, you can see the Satriani reference, so that one has to go into another pile. And 10 Ways to Play Like Alex Lifeson. That's nice. I might have to have another re-look back at that one. Okay, I have too many PV Monitor magazines for some reason. We're not even going to go into the Nickelback. We're not even going to talk about Nickelback. More PV promo. 5150 212 combo. A little leaflet. All right, there's a duplicate. The one we just saw a second ago. All right, Marilyn Manson, and what is the Van Halen connection here? Here we go. Exclusive Van Halen tells all. Dave, Sammy, and Gary Cherone the real story. So that's pretty cool. Dave and Eddie up in the upper left there. So that's the reason why I would have bought that. So you have to look close at these magazines to find out what the Van Halen content is. But if there's 1/100th of Van Halen content, I will buy it. And I think I'm probably a couple of magazines behind. I know Eddie's done a couple things that I don't necessarily have. The Battle of the Axes, Van Halen versus Schofield. So that's pretty cool. Hendrix versus Slash. That's some real cool territory there for sure. Awesome. Jack White, and he's actually been in the news a lot lately for Van Halen content. With a really cool custom 3 pickup Wolfgang that he's got. I had made for him, or he made himself. We kind of popped in an extra pickup. And this is cool as well, too. We were just talking about Eastwood guitars, Eastwood Airline, and he's famous with those ones as well, too. That's the, I think the 59 2P, if I'm not mistaken, 2 pickup, 59, I think. We have, Junior has the 3 pickup deluxe version of that one here. So Van Halen's 1984 20th anniversary celebration with Incredible Lesson. So very cool. That would have been what year? That's 2004, May. This one is a cool one. I'm going to have duplicates of this one for whatever reason. Guitar World presents Van Halen 40 Years of the Great American Rock Band special collector's issue. And let's just have a quick look now. Is it all Van Halen? I don't know. Sometimes you get tricked with these things, right? Beautiful index here. This is nice. Yep, I'm going to have to go back to this one. This one looks great, isn't it? So there's a picture during the 3 tour with Cherone. And there's Wolfgang, very young Wolfgang. That's pretty awesome. It's hard to see with the glare here. This is great. So this one is 100% Van Halen. This one's gonna be another one. Since I have 2 of these, I'm gonna pull one out and put one on the coffee table. I can look at it from time to time. This is quite cool. You definitely got your money's worth out of this one. What did this one cost me? Like, look at everything is really nice in this one. This one cost what? Oh yeah, this one wasn't cheap. $16 Canadian. So that wasn't a cheap one. And I got 2 of them here. Nice. So we talked about plastic in the magazine. Here's one. This is nice. Guitar World. A lot of you have this one. This one's a real Flying Eddie. This was one of the first, not the first necessarily, but one of the first Flying Eddie magazine photos that we saw. $1 in the UK in November 1982, $2, so $2 US back then. Man, look at that. Eddie Van Halen on Technique and Living the Rock and Roll Dream with Frankie there doing the Flying Eddie. That's awesome. I may have 2 of these. I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, hang on. And then look at that. Guitar Legends, same photo, several years later in another magazine. Guitar World presents Guitar Legends. This was April 20th, 1992, if I'm seeing that correct. The Complete Van Halen Making of a Guitar Genius. So this one, I think, obviously is chocked full. I think pretty much, yeah, look at that. The Ripley album review. Yeah, there's more of that cool photo shoot with a lot of guys that are striping up their own Frankies. The 5150 guitars are using photos from this photo shoot to reference it because it's one of the best photos, I think, of it. I know there's others as well too, but this is great. Look at that. Lord of the Strings when he's with Ernie Ball. Yep, another issue dedicated fully to Van Halen. Guitar World. Here we go again. Long-haired Eddie. My story by Eddie Van Halen. The last 4 years of my life have been a hell of a trip. What do we have? Any transcriptions in this one for Van Halen? I don't see any transcriptions, but this one looks pretty cool. Very, very nice. First interview in 5 years, so that's nice. Kind of Eddie's return to the press. This one was a good one. I used to love this magazine, Guitar for the Practicing Musician. Van Halen's poster feature, Transcription to Pound Cake. And the poster is probably gone, more than likely. Oh, maybe I have it. If I did, that'd be awesome. I don't think I do. Seems like a poster here. Oh, okay, there you go. It's not a poster of Eddie himself. It's a poster of the band. So that's neat. Pretty cool. Beautiful purple Ernie Ball signature. That's beautiful. Love that. This one's in kind of poor shape. Here we go. Duplicates of this one here. Guitar Heroes of the 80s. Obviously, Eddie Van Halen. And look at the other names here as well, too. Randy Rhoads, Yngwie Malmsteen, Paul Gilbert, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai. Very, very cool. Van Halen's Eruption, again, transcribed in here. And a nice ad on the back for the PV Wolfgang at the time. Very nice. He's playing a special there. And it shows the standard, or the deluxe, whatever you want to call it. Another duplicate, so we won't go into that one. And speaking of bad Photoshop jobs, this was a bad one. This was a bad. I don't know what happened on this photo shoot, but it is what it is. So I've got one in plastic and one out of plastic. Guitar World exclusive. Eddie's back. The dramatic return of the world's greatest guitar hero. The new guitar. The new bassist. Van Halen mega tapping lesson. And I think there is actually, yeah, there's a CD that comes in it, which is cool. And a CD, DVD. There's a little bit of an interview with Eddie and stuff like that. So that's really, really cool. Yeah. Exclusive 18-minute video of King Edward and his amazing new Frankenstein replica guitar. That's the $25,000 US one. And of course I have it here again, not in plastic, and Top Jimmy and Pretty Woman are transcribed. So that's pretty cool. Just a very weird photo. It is what it is. Now, speaking of duplicates, these are duplicates, quadruplicates, because this was a special series. This I like a lot, and I'm surprised I actually have them all together. So the Guitar World, I'm thinking this is going to be around 2007, right? Is that about right? Looking at the date. What was the date on this one? Why don't I see the date? It looks like the right era. I can't see it offhand, but I'll just going to say somewhere around there. So Eddie did, this was for a real special collector's editions, Guitar World. Eddie did the cover, 4 different covers. So basically, same photo shoot, 4 different guitars. So we've got the black EVH, kind of the quilted amber, the cream, and then of course the striped Frankie with the drop to hell tailpiece. So this is very, very cool. So if you're a collector, and I wish I really wouldn't have opened up the one. I don't know why I did that. But, you know, again, I'm not one of those guys that has to keep it in pristine shape. I'll enjoy them, and I won't open up these other ones. But this one's already open. There's some cool stuff in there. So that's a real nice collection. I love those. I have all 4 of the guitars. Very, very cool. Carlo says, carefully, maybe you'll get flagged by YouTube for showing Eddie's image on your show. In case people were wondering, I was playing Eruption a couple times in different live broadcasts, and strictly Eruption nailed me every time. Nailed me. So I mentioned I'm definitely going to be taking a little bit of a break from playing Van Halen riffs on the show, especially Eruption. I'll play some other pieces and small snippets, but it's, you know, copyright. That's why I play a lot of my own music, to avoid the copyright issues. Okay, let's continue on. Another duplicate of the PV Monitor magazine. So we have a couple duplicates. This one's cool. Guitar Player presents lessons. Learn slick licks and rad riffs from the world's greatest guitarists. And there's a free MP3 download for each lesson. That's cool. I didn't even realize that when I bought the magazine. So obviously you got Eddie with the 5150 Kramer right on the cover. That's pretty nice. He was in pretty good shape at the time, or else that was the backup. I think that's the original one. Very nice. Guitar Player, April 2001, special issue. It's the 80s. Players who defined guitar in the era of excess. Cool. Very nice. Striped overalls. This is another nice one as well, too. Guitar One. Guitar One songs. Mean Street is transcribed in here. Playing Like Van Halen, plus Eddie's New Gear, the Charvel Art Series, EVH Art Series, and the MXR Flanger had just come out, so that's pretty cool. What year? What was that one? Date? Like 2009, does that say? May 2009? 2008 or 2009. I'm sorry, I can't read it. Okay, so we talk about the Van Halen store a lot, and Van Halen News Desk. Here's the inside. This was a short-run magazine that was eventually became the official magazine of Van Halen, and a lot of you have every issue. I've got probably 4 or 5 of them, but this was very, very cool. Back in the Amsterdam, that was awesome. Very, very cool. Unofficial and uncompromised, and I think it did become the official one eventually, so that's pretty cool. Just a small little magazine. I think they came out quarterly or something like that. This was a cool shoot with a lot of the greats. Eddie Van Halen, Jimmy Page, B.B. King. It's insane. It's a large magazine, so this one kind of sits a little awkward in your collection. It's a much taller, much thinner, and much wider, so it's a little awkward to put in your collection. Let's just see if we can find the photo there with Eddie. One second. That was a very cool photo shoot. I may not be able to get to it. Eddie Van Halen there, a little kind of a artist rendition of Eddie. I can't find it offhand, but it's in here. Very cool. That's neat. This is one that I think a lot of people really are sought after. I like this one a lot. Guitar Player. 84, July 84, Eddie Van Halen, My Tips for Beginners, Eruption Solo, Private Lessons. And if I remember correctly, so there's some real cool close-up photos of him playing and demonstrating some of his riffs. I'm going to have a quick look. I seem to remember that in this issue. Black and white, close-ups of the fretboard. Oh, yeah, there we go with the Kramer. Kramer ad back then, the No Bozos. That was so famous. A lot of us had the No Bozo shirts. I just want to see if I can find the pictures. I'm positive it's in this issue. Stanley Jordan, that's cool. Bringing back some names. There we go. Yeah, my memory is 100% correct. Oh, this one got torn a little bit. That's a bummer. So you're seeing Eddie right there. See with the checkered shirt on, and then you can actually see him demonstrating more. That's pretty cool. Yep, that's actually Eddie showing you. That's neat. Okay, we'll boogie through some of these here. Guitar World presents Guitar Legends, 100 Greatest Guitar Solos. Van Halen through Page, Hendrix, Vaughn, Dimebag Darrell, and so on and so forth. Any Van Halen transcriptions? Nothing in this one, so that's cool. This was a good one to have. The 93-94 Guitar Buyer's Guide, most complete guide ever, and you got a kind of a really cool tour of 5150 and some of the guitars Eddie had at the time. He was endorsing Peavey and the Ernie Ball. The Peavey Wolfgang wasn't developed yet, but the amplifier was. So you see a lot of his Ernie Ball Music Mans, and there's some cool. There's even the Les Paul that he's got striped in there. You can barely see it, but I think you see it later on in the magazine. An exclusive private tour with Edward. That's a real cool one to have, and it also gave you pricing on all the gear that was out at the time. Now, this one, did I show this one or not? I don't think I have a duplicate of this one. Guitar Player, first 15 years, May 1993, exclusive new live album and an edifying lesson. I couldn't actually say that very well, so that's very cool. Rare Eddie photos. These magazines were just so cool. Oh, there we go. Is that Eddie there? Nope. There's all your Van Halen lessons. That's cool. Yep, there you go. Some of your cool photos. There's your classic Flying Eddie. Great stuff. This one was one I remember. I remember the day I bought this one. Now, this may not be the original one I bought. I think it is. I remember going to the music store. And here again, I say music store, magazine store. And buying this one here, Guitar for the Practicing Musician, Edward Van Halen, $395 in Canada back in that day, April 1985. And I do remember this like it was yesterday. I remember going there, and what was the transcription in this one? Jump. It was Jump. And at the time, I couldn't play the guitar solo worth anything. And a friend of mine's with me, and he's like, "I'm buying this." He goes, "You're never going to be able to play that. You can never play that." I'm like, "You wait and see." And I did learn it, not 100%, but good enough that I was happy with it. I remember this day like it was no tomorrow. It probably is the original, and I even wrote my name on it. That's pretty interesting. So yeah, that's a good one. So this here is another duplicate. So I guess we are running into some duplicates. That's the Guitar Legends. I don't think I've showed this one. Excuse me, I need a drink. My throat is very dry. Okay, this is a duplicate. This is my final word. And yet another duplicate or a triplicate of the PV Monitor magazine. So that's quite nice. I am starting to run into some duplicates, so here we go. Actually, holy cow, I got triplicate of this one too. Why do I have triplicates? So the Guitar World, Randy Rhoads, and Eddie Van Halen. So I got 2 or 3 of those. I wouldn't be opposed to doing some trades with people too. Possibly if you have some magazines I don't have, if you got some cool stuff, I wouldn't mind doing a trade. I don't want to get rid of any of these, but if there's a good trade, I'll trade some things that you don't have and that I'm looking for. Inside, issue 1, spring 95. This one's starting to get a little bit thicker, a little bit more content in this one. So pretty cool. Great photos. Awesome. Darn it. Sorry, guys. Guitar Legends. This is a nice one. Showing Frankie. Issue number 116. I'm not sure the date on it. March 2011. So basically, look, I don't think there's a real interview with Eddie, but it's more of a just a gallery of cool guitars. Oh, Eddie Van Halen and Steve Luke. Guitar for the practicing musician. What year would this be? September 93. And we have Van Halen 316 live and unabridged. That's cool. So Eddie's live solo. This was good. This is a really good one to have. I know it's in different tablature books, notation books, and stuff like that as well too. But this is a good one to have. I might leave this one on the top of the pile. For one time, I was learning that solo very, very closely. And there's some great stuff in it. It includes Cathedral and everything like that. So that's a really good one to have. Another duplicate of the PV Monitor magazine. This one I don't think I showed you yet. I don't think I have a duplicate of this one. Guitar, the 50 Greatest Van Halen Songs of All Time. So that's pretty cool. And transcriptions to Van Halen's Hot for Teacher. So that's cool, along with some other bands as well too. But that's cool. We're blasting through. I can see the bottom of the pile. Guitar World. I just want to say thank you, Van Halen. And the inside story, Ed's new 5153 amp and world exclusive preview or review. Sorry, that's pretty cool. Eddie with the short hair on that one. Another inside with Sammy, and this would have been a fall of '95 issue. Very cool. This was a good one. I remember this one very well. Guitar 1, Gary and Eddie. Van Halen returns. And what do we have for transcriptions? Any Van Halen? That one. We do have some Joe Satriani, which is cool. Some Kiss. Doesn't look like any Van Halen transcriptions. So that's neat. And I showed you that. This one, I do remember this one, getting this one as well too. Guitar World. Exclusive True Confessions and Guitar Obsessions. Van Halen Gets Serious. And any Van Halen on that one? No Van Halen transcription on that one that I can see, but this is a really good interview. Remember, it's a thick issue too. It's a real thick one. Probably loaded with advertisements, but two buddies, Tony Iommi and Eddie Van Halen. Special collector's issue, Iommi and Van Halen presents the Guitar World 30th anniversary. Obviously, again, the EVH Wolfgang striped with the Drop to Hell D2H tailpiece, which I don't think we're going to ever see anything of. I don't think that they're doing anything with that. Everybody wants some transcription, so there's a transcription for you. This is a very nice, kind of a real classy looking cover. It's really nice. And I think I just saw something in the index here. Yeah, there we go. Look at that photo. It's pretty cool. Nice. I like that one. I think I might have shown you this one, or I don't think maybe it is a duplicate. I'm not positive. Guitar Legends Special Collector's Edition, the greatest guitar portraits and the stories behind them. So that's a really nice one there. That's a classic pose we've seen a lot. No photo issue, it's called, so no real transcription in this one, I don't think. Guitar Shop. This was neat. Here at last, Van Halen's Wolfgang, new interview with Eddie, comprehensive guitar test. So there you go. Pretty cool. Eddie was a little thinner back then. Nice issue. I'm trying to grab a few at a time now so we can make it easier. Guitar Classic Special Collector's Edition, the Ultimate Eddie Van Halen issue, decade of exclusive interviews, techniques, and tips from the pages of guitar. Transcriptions to 7 classic Van Halen songs, including Jamie's Crying, Dance the Night Away, Take Your Whiskey Home, Mean Street, Little Guitars, Why Can't This Be Love, and Seventh Seal. So some great transcriptions here. You definitely got your money's worth on that one. Yet again, another PV Monitor triplicate. this was a cool one and kind of a different look for Eddie. It looked like he had some a hairstylist going on there. And Wolfgang, of course. World exclusive, the first interview with Rock's father and son team, Eddie and Wolf Van Halen, plus 30th anniversary of Van Halen's debut. And now we're just at the 40th, actually, now. So what year would this be? Well, 10 years ago, right? No, how old is that? What's the date? Can't see the date, but you can kind of backdate it. And Little Dreamer is transcribed in here as well. It's cool. This one I'm going to show you. This one's really cool, and it's also online as well too. At least the part that I'm going to tell you about. This one has a lot of Eddie settings in it. It tells you exactly how he gets like where his effect settings are and stuff like that. And as far as like it tells you his settings for his amp as well too. That's going to do nothing for you, really. I mean, you can. We've all tried this. We've all tried to copy his exact settings on his amp, and you're not going to sound like Eddie. I don't sound like Eddie. Only he sounds like it. But when it comes to the effects, that's really helpful because if you want to get his exact delay settings and stuff like that, you will get it. It's in this magazine and it's also online. This is a really good one. I like this magazine a lot. I may have duplicates of it. Eddie Van Halen reveals the secrets of his live rig, every pedal setting, backstage photos, new interview, and more. That is very awesome. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I wanted to see if it has the one photo in here that I'm thinking of. And if it does, it's worth showing. I want to look in this case. And I won't say what it is if it's not here because it would just sound stupid. But I want to see if it's actually in this issue, which I'm very, very positive it is. That's a cool photo. Okay, so the photo's not here, but at least the guitar is. So this is what I want to show you. If you look at the photo right here, where my finger is, you see the Rasta there, and that guitar was given to Eddie before this show by Scott Smith. So you see a really cool picture of Scott Smith, Adam Reaver, who we talk about here on the show all the time. They're very good buddies as well. And Eddie Van Halen and Scott had given them that guitar. So I'm not sure if he played it that night, but I think it does mention it here in the article as well too. So you see in the Rasta there. And let's just see. I know somewhere it talks in the article, it talks about the Rasta, but it actually says from left to right, EVH Stripe Series Star, custom-made EVH Wolfgang Mini for little guitars, the Circles guitar, and then an early 80s Rasta guitar, and that's the one that was given to him. So very, very cool. There's lots of photos online. I thought the picture of Adam, Eddie, and Scott was in this magazine, but I guess not. I was almost certain it was. Okay, I'm wrong. This is a cool one. A lot of my friends have this one actually autographed. Guitar World Van Halen Rocks. This was a really, really cool photo shoot out in the rocks. I don't want to say if it's desert or not, but at least in the rocky area, it was really, really cool. There's some good photos that came out of this one. Ed on the live album, his super secret new amp, that kind of stuff. And Van Halen Jump is transcribed in this one as well too. So very, very cool. Great photos. I know Janie was sharing some outtake photos that she'd shot on her phone. She was sharing them on Twitter. Were just basically they were out. I think they were out scouting, looking for this location, and she had shared a photo very similar to this one here. So Ed looking very, very good, very healthy, and quite happy. Nice to see. I do hope we see more of him soon. Classic rock lead guitar from Guitar Player Lesson Series. Eddie Van Halen. All secrets revealed. Play like a rock god. Very nice. That's cool. And this one here, Joe Satriani on the cover, but I did buy it because of transcription to Ain't Talking About Love. So it's guitar and bass. And there's probably a little bit more Van Halen content because I probably wouldn't have bought it just for that. Very cool. We are down to the last few. Dan Wilhate's here. Is saying, what's up, Eric? Carlo Santin says Dweezil owns the Rasta now, correct? Yes, I do believe he still has it in his possession. And you know what? I've almost nailed Dweezil down for a time on the show. If I get him on the show, I will see if we can get some confirmation on the Rasta, and if he even has it, maybe even play it. That'd be pretty awesome. And Dan Wilhite says, this is cool. I have a ton of guitar mags with EVH going way back. Randall Fisher's here saying, what's up, Eric and everyone? Nice to have you here. Happy Sunday to you. I think we saw this one already today, so that's going to be another duplicate. Now, what do I buy this one for? Guitar Classics Volume 3, Van Halen Transcription to Eruption. Okay, so there's probably a little bit of a feature in there. And what's with the the Ibanez. I thought it might have been some Steve Vai stuff, whatever. This is another cool one. I think I do have duplicates of this one for some reason because it looks familiar. Guitar World, On the Road Again with Edward and Wolfgang Van Halen. I see us doing this for a long, long time. I certainly hope so. I hope they get back on the road. Has transcriptions to Van Halen's Tattoo as well. So that's cool. Oh, there we go. There is my other duplicate of that one I just showed you. Now we're down to like 2 transcription books, and that's it. And this one has a very special thing in the middle of it. I'll show you that in a second. This one here, A Different Kind of Truth. This isn't a magazine, obviously, but it's somewhat accurate, fairly accurate, sometimes accurate transcription book. At least it gets you in the right wheelhouse, whatever, for all the songs from I Think, which is a great album. And 90% of these tracks were demos, so you really get some treats getting the stuff that we heard on all the bootlegs and stuff like that. And lastly, finally. Nothing special about this one other than Best of Both Worlds. Gives you a lot of transcriptions to a lot of the magazines. But there's something I've always left in here, and I always know exactly where to find it. And, people might say, why don't you put it in a frame or something? Because these two things are very close to me. Van Halen and Eric Jr. So if I flip open, you can see a little thing right here in the middle, and I always know where this is. I go to it, and I have a copy of this too, so it's not my only one. But I flip to the middle, and that's when we found out we're having a baby boy. And that's Eric Jr.'s Ultrasound. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I think he was actually going like this. I think he was. So that is Eric Jr.'s Ultrasound. So very, very cool. I like that. That concludes the collection. It's pretty awesome. Now, it's not the largest collection in the world. Certainly not the smallest, but it's pretty cool. And I think I do have some more. I actually had a whole bunch of DVDs. And I had a massive collection of all the import bootlegs, all that kind of stuff. And in the process of moving, I had that and some magazines and some crates. Now I shouldn't say crates, big Rubbermaid bins, but they weren't they weren't sealed tight, whatever, and moisture from the basement. I don't mean moisture as in like flooding, but just dampness ruined them. And 99.9% of them were thrown out. It was a very sad day for me throwing out all these DVDs and stuff, just like mold and mildew on there. It was a real drag. But I do enjoy the collection for sure. Randall says it sucks you got flagged for playing that little bit. Yeah, it is. It is what it is. I appealed the first claim and was denied. And I've appealed the second claim, and it's in dispute right now. So we'll see what happens. It's a shame because I see some of these other guys on these other channels that are doing note for note lessons and playing all kinds of backing tracks of Van Halen, that kind of stuff, and no problem whatsoever. And I'm going to talk to some other people that are doing some similar things out there as well too, like Pixie Licks and or Steve from Boston now, Robert Baker and people like that too. Just kind of put some thoughts in their ears and ask how they deal with it and how they don't tend to get any red flags for that. But I hope you enjoyed the collection. Fun time going through these things. Now I think what I'm going to do, not necessarily right now, but in the coming days, I'm going to go chronologically order these, get them sorted. And I'm going to move some bookshelves over to another room. I'm just busting at the walls here as far as space. And it's slowly becoming like a Star Wars trash compactor. I feel like the walls are coming in closer and closer. Just too much stuff. I got to kind of reorganize a little bit. But anyways, I hope you had a fun Sunday afternoon. Thank you for jumping in for this little bit. Looks like we're probably very close to about an hour. I think we're done about an hour. So we'll be back next week. I took the weekend off as far as the EVH and gear and the Helix Hour as far as guests. We were working on schedules for everybody, and we just didn't have slots that would work for guests this weekend. So it was kind of nice just to kind of chill. But next Friday, I'm back at the regular time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've got Jeff Pilson on the show from Dokken and Foreigner and Dio and so many other great bands. That's going to be a fun one. And he handpicked that night. He says, let's do Friday the 13th. I'm like, hey, that's actually pretty cool. Maybe we'll talk some scary gig stories or something of that nature. Hey, Brian Cassell, Coffee Drinkers here saying, great collection. Thanks for sharing. Richard Lee Rogers, it's a nice feeling. I'm not the only EVH nut. No, you're in good company when you come to this channel. You're in good company. We're all EVH nuts, or you wouldn't be here. That's right. Other great guests coming up on the Helix Hour as well too. I've got Richie Castellano coming up on the show. I've got Will and Jay from Line 6 Tech Support, and they have their own Line 6 podcast. Really, really awesome. I'll be getting Frank Rashad back here soon as well too. And I know I'm probably forgetting some people. Also on the 20th of, so the following Friday, I won't be doing a live show. So far, it looks like Junior and I are going to be guests of Sons of Apollo. And Billy's going to give me a rundown of his rig, his live stage rig and everything. I was just talking to Billy today, as a matter of fact. And I'm hoping to document all of that so I can bring it back for some really good content for the channel. I'll try to interview the whole band if I can, get some video with the band. But it sounds like we're going to have a stage tour, so that's going to be really, really cool. Looking forward to that. And yeah, Carlos says, looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Everyone, go have a fantastic afternoon with your families, and we will look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Thank you so very much for your support here on the channel. It means a lot. If you do want to share some support, you can have a look down below. There's links for my Patreon, patreon.com/EVHGearTV. Some of you already are supporters, so thank you so very, very much. Every little bit helps. And there'll be a list of my Patreon supporters in the video here at the end. I'm going to turn over here to the outro and wish you guys all the best. See you very, very soon here on EVH and Gear TV. Happy Sunday to you all. Cheers. I am now on Patreon. If you enjoy my content and wish to support my channel and what I do, then please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/EVHGearTV. Your support assures the continued growth of this channel and a fun community in which to share our love for Van Halen, music gear, and much more.
My name is Eric and I'm playing Wolfgang guitar.
Video production services provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs. Microphones for EVH and Gear TV are provided by Rode Microphones, and official Van Halen merchandise is provided by vanhalenstore.com.